Cool. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Unreal Engine livestream. I'm Alexander Pascal, and joining me today is Mike Fricker.
Hello.
We're here to talk about 4.12 and the game jam results. But first, it's the news. Thank you, Shelley. First up, we have 4.12 Preview 5, released for early adopters. So if you've been keeping up with the previews, this is the latest one and the last one. So you will find that there's just a couple of new things that were added into this one. Foliage scalability setting, twist corrective animation node that helps out with morph targets, and the pixel inspector. But there's also all kinds of new updates and fixes. And if we go to here, boop, there they are.
Yeah, this release we actually decided to push out a week to increase the stability, just make sure that we get as many fixes in as possible. So that's why I'm on this week and not last week, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Also, we had the awesome Google announcement stuff.
Yeah, the timing worked out good.
Yeah, it was actually pretty decent for that. And yeah, last week I also got to mention that we want to make sure it's good and stable. We're gonna keep up on this one. And yeah, as you can see, this one preview is just a huge lot of fixes too. You can see just crash fix, all kinds of stuff. So this is an awesome preview. You definitely want to check it out. And soon enough, we will have the full release for you. Yay! Cool. All right. So in our showcases, as you know, we have the blog in the showcase, and we have a new showcase project that had come out. Adidas has been using Unreal Engine to create these monolithic cubes as advertisements for their new shoes that are coming out. And I think they're called NMDs. What they've done is they put these cubes out. Let me scroll down a little here, and they have big displays on them. And people can interact with each other by taking photographs on Twitter, and then using their particular hashtag, their automated system picks it up and displays it to people in other cities. And so you're able to send pictures to these large cubes in different cities, and then people can send them back, and you can wave at each other and have all kinds of fun. It's a very creative and good way of just using the engine in a kind of not game way, but in a way you wouldn't expect. So I love seeing that too, just the engine being used for all kinds of fun projects.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more stuff like that too. It's great.
Yeah. Gonna do a nice shout out here for our buddy Nick Fisterer and everyone over at Unreal Slackers. If you're not on slack.unrealslackers.com, then go join the Unreal Slackers because they're awesome and they're having their own jam. So they're going to be having a jam, and Nick was kind enough to schedule it so that you don't have to choose if you're going to do the next UE4jam or theirs, because theirs kicks off tomorrow. Basically, they're going to have a jam where you go to Unreal Slackers, and some of you may already be familiar with the bot that they have in chat for game ideas that will string together a series of things, a theme, genres, and a couple of different objects and stuff, and make you a little game idea. So the idea here is you have to use whatever bizarre idea it comes up with, and I think I came up with one earlier where it said I have to gather kittens in order to cure a major disease or something weird like that. So it's really fun. You'll end up making really silly ideas, and then their hashtag bot says jam. So join the bot says jam and have some fun with that. Cool. Unreal Engine 4 supports Google's new Daydream VR platform. You all probably were here for the last stream, and if you weren't, then you missed out on some really awesome stuff, and go check out the archive on YouTube. But we are fully supporting Google's new Daydream VR platform, and it's awesome, and there's now a nice new blog post about it. Here you can see Daydream, and you might have already noticed this one. It's been up there for about a week now, and then you can watch the video that we played on the last stream. And it has full details of everything when Kim went on stage, what he said, and what all it'll be able to do. And I'd like to actually take this opportunity to confirm again that this actually does mean Google Cardboard is also in this. We said it a couple times, but I've been getting a couple pings. I want to make sure that people do know that this does include Google Cardboard, which is pretty cool. So, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to have motion controllers on a mobile.
Oh yeah.
Platform.
They kind of have that little rotational movement and all that, so you can get your hands positioned. It's cool. I'm excited to see how VR is becoming much more accessible. And speaking of VR, optimizing the Unreal Engine 4 renderer for VR is a nice new blog post that came up on the Oculus blog. The creators of Farlands put this nice one up about what all's been done in order to improve performance by leaps and bounds. They have a GitHub pull here, or GitHub, not a pull, but it's a fork. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. GitHub fork, where they've made their optimizations and basically made a forward renderer that works very well for VR. And down here you can actually see deferred render 52 FPS, forward render they got 90 FPS on the same scene. It just really helps accelerate a lot when you're working in that, because deferred is kind of heavy for VR, because it's a bunch of different texture maps it has to read versus everything else. Yeah, so cool. Very awesome. Really glad that they shared this.
Yeah, so this is the cluster to deferred forward shading. So we'll have some stuff to talk about later in the stream about forward. We're doing our own work there a little bit now too, to get better performance on lower end, even desktop platforms, not even just VR, but for your games, if you just want to run on a toaster, run on a low end machine, we want you to be able to do that with Unreal. We're hoping to collaborate more, but the Oculus stuff is a great start. If you're going to do a VR game today, you can grab 411 and their code drop and plop it on top, and you should be able to get just an instant performance boost, probably running with MSA, and some quality advantages too in VR.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I was talking to Chris Babcock earlier about this update, and he actually mentioned that Gear VR already has a forward renderer in Unreal, so that one's already in there too. So that's pretty cool. Nice. So those are all the news items for the day. Next up, we got Community Spotlight. So our Answer Hub Karma earners of the week are Remy D, 225. You're the top Karma earner. Nice job.
Woo.
Scott Spadia. Spadia. I hope I said that right. But you've already got your badge because you were up there last week, and thanks again for being up here. And then we have, Melody Swidwin.
That's good.
What do you think, Melody Swidwin? What do you think?
Melody, maybe? I don't
Melody Swidwin, thank you very much. You have a very complex name. So thank you all for participating, and thank you everybody else who made it on the board but didn't quite make it in the top 3. Better luck next time, but thank you so much all for coming out into the Answer Hub and helping each other out. And just, keep up the awesome work. So, choo. Okay. Shelly, to the main screen. Spotlight. I like the spotlight is the
theatrical.
It's very nice. Theatrical. Yeah, didn't you have a background in theater? This makes a lot of sense all of a sudden. Yeah. Okay, so Waza sent me a message to let me know that he's put together this amazing 34 video long 2D side-scroller tutorial, which is actually a series of smaller tutorials on how to make different aspects of a 2D side-scroller. It actually kind of parallels some of the things that Alan Noon is doing in his, but then it also expands into whole new places, and as you get down to it, I think there's like multiplayer in here too. Yeah, even near the end. And then, there's like a ladder system, which Alan Noon recently did the ladder, but they have their own checkpoint systems, menus, all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
But Waza has a great YouTube channel for general Unreal stuff and Unreal lessons. But that playlist in particular is very fleshed out, very nice. 34 solid videos that are between 10 to 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So awesome job, Waza.
Yep, thank you. That's awesome.
Yep, and if you have a tutorial playlist like this, or you are, working on one, send me a message through Twitter, Facebook, forums, however you want to reach out to me. Let me know that you're making something cool. I really love to highlight these things, and most of the time I either have to find them myself, or luckily people will send me their awesome things they've been working on. So send me something cool, let me spotlight you. Alrighty. Next up, there's a very cool wiki page here, Get Build with Plugins. And I guess the primary reason I wanted to show it off is it explains to you exactly how to, sorry, I lost my monitor there. So it explains to you how to do, this. If you're just trying to figure out how to do stuff where you're not doing it manually, you want to have things more automated, it's very awesome for GitHub use. Actually, it's awesome for if you're working with plugins and GitHub and you just need to know things about it. There's everything. It's not like one little tutorial. It's like a ton of stuff. So Git Build with Plugins, excellent wiki, tutorial, guide, everything. So thank you. Very good. Next up, oh right, Broad Strokes, which is normally a team of people that also submits things into Game Jam, but it's a team name or studio name. But Broad Strokes has come up with a really great floating rocks tutorial. This is Jan, and you might recognize Jan Kaluza from a lot of other things. In fact, you might have met him at GDC. He's kind of all over the place. Really cool guy. But Jan made this very nice tutorial, and it's all about how you can use some very nice, simple math. I think this is a good way if you're kind of getting into game development and you didn't realize how important sign and code, like everything that you probably wanted to ignore in high school was. But all those very important maths, this actually kind of teaches you how to apply them in blueprints at a very low-level way, but can be applied in a lot of different ways. So this is very cool tutorial on just getting the rock to float, orbit slightly, do all kinds of stuff, flip a person upside down, because why not? Let me see, I think he has, little GIF or something up here you can check out. There you go. So kind of helps you make this kind of floating effect.
Awesome.
It's very nice.
Yeah, just kind of interfering sine waves, I think.
Exactly.
So the rocks themselves aren't procedural.
Nope.
It's just positioning of objects and kind of laying out objects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just very organic, and it creates that kind of stylized floating effect.
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny how much value that adds to games, having that really smooth kind of smooth transitions between everything. Mm-hmm. Polished transitions matter so much.
Yeah, and I've seen people try to like animate that instead of doing this. So this is just good. Instead of like hand animating, like have your animator like sit there and create keyframes of a rock moving around. Just math it. It's nice. Just math it. That's what I always say. I don't ever say that. All right, there we go. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We've got all this amazing 412 news. We've been working.
Grab the keyboard here.
All yours, buddy. We've been working like crazy on these release notes. We've been working like crazy getting the builds ready for you. So, Mike's got some cool stuff to show you. Shelly, main screen turn on. Whoa. Whoa. Wow.
Cool. Yeah, so we're going to talk about 412. This is a huge release that I know the whole team's really excited about because we worked really hard on it. It's kind of a continuation, like a little bit of the story, right?
Yeah, because of how Sequencer was such a big story for 411.
Yeah, I'll just switch to the pre-Sequencer page.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll talk about Sequencer in a second, but just to go over 412 stuff. So, huge release. There's over 400 new features. Something like approaching 800 to 1,000 other changes and bug fixes. So, just kind of like generally giant release, just like 411 was.
Yeah, it's like 60 pages or something currently on our
doc. Oh, is it?
Is
it the release? It's up to that?
It's pretty sizable.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big one. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be some issues too, like we're still patching it. Hopefully we don't have to do too many more hotfixes, but...
there's always one.
Yeah, there's always... there'll be at least
realistically,
one.
There's always a hotfix.
There'll be at least one, for sure. Actually, let me set this up over here. So you can just scroll through.
Oh yeah, the extra notes you got there.
Cool. So, as usual, I want to thank the community, the code community who submitted over 100 pull requests that were accepted.
Wow.
Made it into 412. I think we had 106 total, and we're up to over almost 16,000 forks on GitHub. I think we're like 15,900 or something like that. So it's pretty awesome to see everyone grabbing the code and helping us out by contributing fixes, no matter how big or how small, and new features as well. That's really cool. I also wanted to mention, I might have mentioned this before, I forget, that ways back, I think it was like maybe 4 months ago, we made kind of a change on GitHub where internally at Epic, we're working all in kind of development streams now. We're not working directly in the mainline branch for various reasons. They're all good reasons, hopefully. I won't bore you with that, but how it affected GitHub was kind of crappy because what you guys get in GitHub is kind of these bulk change lists, these bulk commits that are merges from these development branches of all the good stuff that's been QA tested and is now getting merged to mainline.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good in a way because if you're using the master branch on GitHub or the main branch in our Perforce, you'll have something that's a lot more solid because it's already been, everything goes in there has been guaranteed to go through a decent amount of testing, even though it's still considered an unstable branch. So anyways, the downside is that you can't see kind of like the granular, if I go to my desk right now and check in, a cool VR editor feature or something,
you guys can't see it right away on GitHub. It's not reflected right away on there because the development streams aren't all reflected on it. I guess that was actually a bad example because what I wanted to say was the VR editor branch is the first branch that actually is on GitHub. That development stream is reflected, and that's kind of what we're piloting with it this with. And we'll see how it goes. We have some housekeeping logistics kind of stuff to work out before we'll be able to do that for all of the many other development streams like rendering and physics and animation and all those things. But just know that that's where we want to get to. So you'll get back to still having that granular commit history. So you'll be able to get things like as soon as we check them in. That's what we want to get back to.
It's all about getting a good turnaround time. We want to do it here, then have them immediately be able to use it. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. And we have a whole bunch of other like kind of code community things that like it's super important to me and the rest of the team. It's just we're still sort of finding our way there and learning about what is best for you guys and what they want. So, but anyways, just want to mention that there is a dev VR editor stream that is our first development stream. That's a child of master that rather than just doing bulk merges and seeing bulk merges, you'll see every check-in that goes into there. Cool. Another thing I want to mention: 412 Visual Studio 2015.
That's a requirement now.
Yep, requirement.
So, and that's a big change because some people were using 2013 still. So heads up. Yeah.
So the last release was compatible with both. We had a transition release. Actually, for a while we've been sort of compatible with both, but 411 was officially supporting both. 412, if you had to, you can get it compiling with 2013. Especially the game can compile with 2013 from source if you have the source code, not the binary release. But we're trying to phase it out, right? It adds a lot of overhead to our testing, our build process, and then you have this whole disk space footprint of all these extra static libraries.
Yeah, because it's just like one whole extra branch, an extra chunk, an extra team of people that has to go into that. Yeah.
We're learning about how to move more rapidly here. We expect more frequent kind of Visual Studio versions, like at least compiler updates, not necessarily IDEs, but so we want to learn how to move a little more quickly with that. So we're kind of eager to phase out the old version and get everyone updated to the new stuff. And finally, before we go into the features, I want to talk about code plugins in the marketplace. This may have, I don't think we talked about it last time because they weren't on there, but they are on. There's 16 of them on there now.
Oh, the code plugins?
Yeah.
We had Stephanie come on, and we had to talk. We had a good talk about the first, I think, 5 or so that came on there. So that was cool. But yeah, we rapidly just pushed like a bunch of these good ones we've had. It's funny because we've had them so long, we all knew they were great, but until these changes were made, we couldn't push them out. And now that we have, it's just like go.
Yeah, and there's a lot more great ones in the pipe. But just they're on there now. Check them out. And launch. There's a separate code plugins category.
Yep.
And if you're interested in making one, there's already a few up for sale. They're not just free ones. There's some that are for sale. We have some documentation and some tutorial videos about how to create a plugin. It's actually not that hard to actually get started creating a plugin. You'd be surprised. Check it out. Okay, let's get into the fun part. What's new in 412? So Unreal Sequencer, it's kind of the big one for this release, and I know we've had the Sequencer guys on now and then to talk about it, so I'm not going to go into too much depth into these, but this is now officially supported, not just experimental, in 412. We're using it for all of our stuff and have been for a little while to kind of test it, but kind of like what the main things that excite me about Sequencer, I'm not a super cinematics guy, but having used Matinee for many, many years and kind of looking to see what's kind of next gen in-game machinima and real-time animation in games, I'm really excited about the features that we have in Sequencer because I think that the community will find that it's hopefully pretty revolutionary for real-time tools in what you can do here. There's some features that are pretty unique to this. But the things that excite me most is kind of the idea of spawnables, where you can have objects that are owned by your movie scene or your level sequence asset. So you can take objects, and rather than just possessing things in your level, it's a self-contained thing, and you can spawn them, you can animate them, and they can just go away when your scene goes away. You can instance that scene anywhere you want. Yeah. You can even have multiple shots with subsequence that can be instanced, and they can be overlapping spatially and in time, and you can do crazy stuff that was never possible in Matinee and not also in most other tools that you'd see. And that kind of leads into the other thing I think is cool, which is just the idea of these kind of sub-scenes, these sub-sequences. Yeah. Lets you, you basically have free organization of your asset now. So before, if you're working on like a complicated project, basically you'd have to have exclusive access to the file to do your work. Wasn't great for collaboration.
No.
So now you can organize your scene however you want. You can split it up by like, hey, all the audios and different assets and all of the animations, meshes, the main actors of your scene, and then you can also kind of split them column-wise too, so that not just by like kind of discipline, but you could have different shots also have their own self-contained assets and stuff. So it's, or you can do the whole thing in one big file. Like you have all the power to do however you want, because there's advantages to actually doing it both ways. You can even do half of it all in one file, like say the global stuff, like skies and background music could be in one file, but then the granular stuff that changes shot to shot be all separate subshots and
I can definitely see how it would be very beneficial to set up like, this is your world folder. The world will always have these things. Yep. This is your scene folder for scene A, scene B, scene C, and then just as you need them. Especially, like you were saying, the spawnables is really useful for, you want to maintain your in-game cinematic feel. Like, a lot of people, you'll see a cinematic, it just pulls you right out because you can tell it's pre-rendered and all that. But with this, it's, just like, you want some vehicles to come flying in, just spawn them in. Then when you're done doing that scene, have them fly off and then despawn them.
Yep.
And then just keep going with the level instead of having to jump out, show them a video and all that. Or having to have the assets already in the level, and then when they finally get to their point, make sure you delete them or something.
Totally, yes. It's just all this manual housekeeping that was... It was just a pain.
Yeah, back in the matinee days. This is awesome.
So last things I'm kind of like super excited about is just the workflows are all super polished. It's a more modern tool that's familiar to someone who used kind of offline like stuff like Premiere Pro or Sony Vegas or something like that. And then we have all these kind of new sort of pro features for professionals who would be familiar with kind of real cinematography. We have kind of cinematic cameras with physical kind of behavior, like a crane that actually kind of works like a crane, or camera shakes that kind of, a little more realistic. So there's all this stuff in here too that's I think pretty exciting.
The crane and camera visualizers are my favorite because it just makes it feel so, like the track too, it just makes it feel so real, like, oh, we're really on this movie set and setting it up. And there was a game called The Movies I played when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember. It was a game that was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was just like, oh, I set up where the camera goes, and it was all like that. And now it just feels like you're playing a game instead of having to really like bend your mind around these concepts of film and all that. So it's really fun.
Last thing we'll mention with this, there's going to be full documentation, of course. When we release the release notes, we'll get you to all the training material. But I want to mention that if you have existing matinee animations, the team worked really hard to get this into 4.12 so that you can take your existing animations, and when you open them in 4.12, Sequencer will pop up and say, like, hey, you don't have to use matinee anymore. We can convert them. We'll try to convert them to Sequencer for you, and generally it works pretty well. So hopefully you'll be able to use Sequencer right out of the box with your existing animations, which pretty awesome, I think, that we got that done.
Oh yeah.
Okay, next stuff. Live capture. This is the last thing I want to show. So cool. We showed some versions of this at GDC with, I think, Paragon assets, but.
Yeah, Zach Parrish went out there and showed a steel running around and fighting himself.
That's right. Yeah, this is so awesome. It's really cool that you can actually play one of these captured. This is actually the first time actors are actually actors, right?
Yeah.
Like an actor in the scene is actually something you're actually kind of puppeting it, controlling it, and then taking multiple takes.
This is so great for like when you want to do those like the in-game cinematic for your reel or whatever. It's like, yeah, you can just cut it and edit all the fun bits here. It's really good.
Yep. So pretty easy to use. You can easily just kind of choose what you want to animate, and we'll be doing more with this in the future. It'll actually record the actual skeletal animation of the character. So anything that kind of happens that's dynamic, like aligning feet to the floor, or IK stuff, or just physical impulses, those should end up in the animation. It should be fairly one-to-one.
Oh yeah, like if the character gets blown away and knocked back and they ragdoll out.
They'll capture
after that ragdoll.
All right.
So.
Okay, so next big thing.
I'm so hyped for this already.
Faster.
I don't know what it is.
We've shown this one a bunch already. So 4.12 has this. It's experimental in 4.12 because obviously it's crazy.
Yeah. We're crazy people. We have to be on the bleeding edge.
It just is experimental and probably will be for a long time because it's just a crazy idea. But long term, we're big believers in this stuff, and we're here on the ground floor, kind of with the community and learning with the community, like, and the whole rest of the industry in VR and creative space about how to do this kind of stuff. So this is the first version that will have it in the binary release. Of course, you've had access to it in source code for a while and in the preview release. But you can boot it up, and if you have, it currently requires motion controllers. Later, we'll make it so that you can use it with kind of mouse keyboard in VR or other different devices. Yeah. But for now, you need a Vive. This is the best way to use it.
Yeah, because until the Oculus Touch controllers are available, right now it's the Vive hand controllers are the only thing that kind of exists in that space.
Yeah, if you do have the Oculus Development Kit controllers, if you have access to those, plug them in. They'll work. You'll see the kind of picture. They'll just work too.
Yeah.
But it'll draw whatever controller you're holding when you're in there. But those are the two we support, and later we'll add more. I'm excited to add more stuff too. But yeah, so try it out and give us your feedback. It has quite a few features, but obviously it's just a start. Just some GIFs we made for the release notes. You kind of see like we have transform gizmos. You can do precise work in here. It's not just like completely clumsy throwing things around. We have the snapping and the UI that you'd be familiar with in the editor, content browser, modes panel, world outliner, the details panel. All that stuff is accessible.
The zooming feature is amazing because you can get so close.
This is kind of like
a teeny tiny house.
Yeah, it's kind of like a joke part of the scene that Shane Cottle made for us, where there's like a jail, and we got to show how just crazy you can scale yourself in VR, and and he's just like, okay, I'll put a bunch of jails, like, and make them smaller and smaller and smaller. It's like a
Matryoshka doll of jails.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But anyways, the cool thing about this is you can get around in these scenes. You don't even need a Vive. Like, you don't need a tracking space. Like, you don't have to walk around. You can be sitting at your desk, and you can get around anywhere by either teleporting or just kind of grabbing the world and scaling it. And it's just kind of pinch and zoom, or you can throw it just like you'd scroll your iPhone or Android device. It's pretty easy to get around. But yeah, try it out. We also have I want to mention, I forget if it's in the release notes, but you can use this feature in any map once you enable it. So you can use it in your own projects once you update them to 4.12, and just try it out, as long as the performance is generally VR friendly. But we have a map. If you do File New in the editor and click VR-Basic, we'll give you a map that probably will run fast on your computer enough that you'll have a good experience here if you just want to try out the controls and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So just try to add that to the release notes.
You can see an even tinier jail. Sorry, it's just bothering me. I wonder.
Yeah, no,
I
just
want
keep
to know
going.
how tiny they get.
No, I think there's just like 4 of them.
Okay.
We actually limit the how far you can zoom down for now, just because it gets into a little bit like floating point precision craziness territory.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll have to do some more work, but okay. So more features. So
what is this? A jail for ants?
Yeah.
That's great. I love that comment.
Okay. So go more quickly, I guess. So probably not too long. Planar reflections available in 4.12. So this is, we have screen space reflections. This is basically an alternative to those if they're not working for, or like you need something maybe a little more robust. They're not necessarily higher quality, but they don't have the artifacts that screen space reflections would have, because they're actually re-rendering the scene from the inverted perspective. So on the next screen, we kind of a comparison here, where SSR is on the left, and you see like screen space, it just can't possibly reflect things that it didn't render in the base pass to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
But planar reflections, you get a legit reflection. It's going to be pretty much perfect, as long as you're cool with a planar reflection. Screen space it doesn't have to be flat necessarily. So pros and cons, the planar reflections are more expensive in your typical scene that has a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's going to be doing a lot more work there.
Yeah, you got to draw twice.
Yep. So
screen space is a little bit cheaty, but looks pretty good most of the time too. So try it out if it fits your project. Might be really good. Next thing, so we did all kinds of reflection stuff. So the planar stuff was just one thing.
We got to show off that McLaren demo too, which is excellent.
So this was the car configurator demo for McLaren that McLaren's using Unreal 4 that we showed at GDC. The enterprise team here made this really cool. I don't know, they've probably shown it. They've been on the stream.
Oh yeah, we did the whole breakdown of how the app works with it and all that.
So it's on YouTube.
Alan Willard, yeah, I know. There's sometimes that feeling like, well, we've talked about some things, right? We can't talk about everything. But no, we've gotten to cover this one pretty thoroughly. It was a lot of fun having Alan Willard come on here and like talk about all the stuff that he did, and then Max Bressner got to talk about making the app for it. But yeah. So
I'll just quickly mention just the new rendering features that you guys get in 4.12 that you can use if you want to achieve the reflection quality that we're using for this and other projects in the future. So we got 16-bit normal and tangent support on static meshes. So in the static mesh editor now, you can just like flip an option on, and that will use a 16-bit buffer for normals and tangents, rather than right now it's all packed into like this 8-bit buffer. So you basically get really high quality normals, which is important if you want perfect reflections on like glancing kind of curved surfaces rather than just kind of coarse. So anyways, you can turn that on. It's a little bit more memory, a little bit more performance, but get higher res stuff. We added high res cube map support for sky cube maps, and also high res reflection probes. The reflection probes, you have to, if you want to increase the resolution, you have to go into your project settings and set it there, and then rebuild lighting and generate reflections for new probes. But the sky cubes, you can set that on a per light basis. So on your skylight, you can just increase the resolution. And that gets you obviously a higher resolution reflection itself, which is, before that was just like a hard-coded thing. I think it was hard-coded at like 1024 or something, and now you can crank it up. We support custom cube maps for reflections now. So you can go and basically tune local reflections to look a little bit more high quality than they would before. This is where you're getting a pretty particular about your reflection quality, and obviously when you're doing like a car showroom, we really cared about that. But this lets you go in and kind of override on every reflection probe. You can customize the cube map to get it looking like a more realistic, more authentic reflection, I should say. And then finally, we added high precision G buffer normals. So the G buffer, which is the deferred shading kind of buffer that holds the normals under the screen, we added support for 16-bit G buffer normals now. So that's going to get you better screen space reflections. So kind of like 4 features there that all go together to kind of do this, and they're all available. You can turn them on in either project settings or on lights and kind of get those features. And then kind of the last one with the car. Let's go to the next one. This is separate from reflections, but still pretty super cool, I think. Like, so there's 3 pictures here, right? There's 411. This is the clear coat shading model in 411. And then the new one in 412, which supports dual normal maps. So,
yeah, that's drastically different.
And then on the right, there's an actual, this is real life on the right.
Yeah.
So we're getting close. It's like a real McLaren, and then center. So it's pretty good.
It's almost like we just need to kind of like tilt the lighting a little, maybe a little wider. But it's almost there. Also, we need a person in the picture, like you can see in the real life one, that you can see whoever took the picture.
I know.
In there.
Yeah, you're totally true. That's gonna be the next thing that we have to add to the reflections, right?
Yeah.
But like the captor,
so real.
the captor has to be in the picture.
It's so real.
Yeah. So, anyways, we have a clear coat shading model in the material. This is gonna let you pick like a bottom normal. So in your material, you'll be able to plop down a material node, a new material node that's like bottom normal. That goes under the clear coat, and that gives you like a second normal map. And that's, what we use to get this nice carbon fiber kind of looking thing here. So that'll be available too, if you want to do cool carbon fiber. And I know there's other use cases too for it besides car paint. Okay. Next, VR stuff. OSVR in 412. This is preview and was mostly done by the OSVR team with the VR team here at Epic's help too, I believe. I'm not sure what this is going to do if I click play. But the OSVR team made this nice kind of tutorial that's on their website. If you search for OSVR Get Unreal, they'll have this kind of nice tutorial that shows you how to use it. In 412, the plugin will be included with Unreal out of the box. You'll just have to enable it in the plugins UI if you want to use it. I think it's off by default because it's experimental. That's the only reason. And then once we improve it in the future, it'll be on by default. So I'm going to turn it on here, but definitely check that out if you're interested in using that.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited about this. I think it's a Banana King and I actually got to be kind of buddies over the use of the OSVR plugin and all that. So yeah, because I had received an OSVR from them and I was trying to get it working and I was struggling, and then he's like, "Let me give you some pointers and some tips," and then we started talking a while, and I think we all kind of got in a big conversation. So I'm really really happy to see this one happening.
Yep, of course we want Unreal to support every VR device that the community finds interesting or useful. We're working steadily towards it. Okay, the nice thing too is just like the rest of our VR plugins, it all uses the same abstraction. So if you're using the HMD component, the motion controller component, all that stuff will just work with this too if you enable it. Okay, we've got a bunch of new mobile features, so I'm just going to kind of cruise through. We showed most of these with Protostar, and we talked about most of them, but the Protostar features from the Samsung S7 event are now all available in 412. So you get kind of like Vulkan rendering. It's kind of in preview, but you can use it, turn it on. The tone mapper is now available. This is actually like a GIF that shows you kind of before and after, but you can use the color graded tone mapper now on mobile, which before wasn't available. higher quality Gaussian depth. So basically, if you have a 3.1 ES 3.1 device, you can turn up the depth of field quality to look pretty much just like the desktop render. Looks really good. And then finally, we have cascaded shadow maps on mobile too, which is awesome. It only supports one light right now, one stationary directional light, but it's great if you have a ton of objects in your scene. There's not really any other way on mobile to get good shadow rendering, dynamic shadow rendering performance without this feature. So if you have a lot of objects, if you only have a few objects, you could get by using modulated shadows. Modulated shadows is going to be faster for you for sure. But the nice thing about cascaded shadow maps is it's going to blend correctly with all your static shadows and other lighting going on. You're not going to have overlapping shadows like modulated shadows will get you. So it's trade-offs, but it might fit your game and your performance for your game. If you can use it, you'll probably know.
Yeah, I remember showing these off in kind of early at 4.11, and a lot of people being like, "Oh, give it now," and it's here.
Yep.
So it's very exciting to see this one going out the door.
GPU particles. There's the ProStar demo.
Tens of thousands of GPU particles being rendered at once.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can find the video.
That was my favorite thing to say at GDC is I would be standing there on the floor at GDC holding the phone in my hand, talking, like people would be walking by. I'm like, tens of thousands of particles rendering all at once, and they'd stop and have to stare. It's pretty impressive.
Cool. So that's available too. Shouldn't have to do anything special to get that working. If you want to use it, sure. This is a cool feature for performance. We took the grass system and the foliage system and added scalability, like automatic scalability. So this kind of equates to a detail slider in your game or in the editor, and it will automatically kind of thin out your vegetation for you, and just get you better performance kind of automatically.
Wow.
Next thing, this is one I know the community's been pretty excited about. That I think we've talked about quite a bit now, hopefully by now.
Yeah, we've mentioned this one before, but we never had like a nice image like this to display it.
Yeah, those guys did a great job with this. But this has been in preview for a while. It's still experimental, but we're at the point now where it's working surprisingly good now. Like before we could get a few samples through it, but now we have some bigger projects actually going through this path, and it's looking more and more promising. So try it out. I guess that's what we want, is just more feedback. There's already at least one big thread where people have reported some cool success stories and seeing like upwards of 10 times performance of Blueprint game thread runtime, which is pretty awesome. That's what we're looking for, right?
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And in some cases, it'll be better than that, depending on what you're doing. So it's pretty easy to try, right? If you have a lot of Blueprint stuff in your game, you can just click the checkbox in project settings called Nativize Blueprint Assets, and then package your game. That will go and generate code for your Blueprint assets, all of them by default, and spit them in a folder under your project's intermediate directory. There'll be like a kind of a synthetic module generated for your Blueprint code that's been converted to C++, and then the compiler will run and compile it all, and it will be in your game, and hopefully work.
Wow.
So I expect to see most things compile correctly, but the issues that I'd be looking for is kind of runtime behavioral differences. That's kind of the things that Mike Beach and the Blueprint team has been working through one by one when getting our demos and games kind of working. But so we know we have a ways to go, but the more feedback we have, the better.
So go in there and break something, and then tell us you broke the thing.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
So please do that a lot until it's nice and souped up.
Or if it works out well for you, want to know about that too.
Just let us know how it's going for you on this one. My favorite kinds of features are these ones that do something massive and grand, and they're a checkbox. There's this one little checkbox. It's a brilliant thing.
Yep. I'll mention one thing. There is something out here. It'll be in the release notes. If you do run into problems, you can. It's kind of a little bit of a pain, but in your project configuration files, you can exclude blueprints by type or by asset path name. So if there's one that's just like, oh my god, this blueprint is not working at all when it's converted, but everything else in my game does, you can just exclude selectively the assets that are problems and nativize everything else. And the release notes and documentation will show you how to do that if you're just so excited about this that you want to try it right now, although we don't recommend shipping a game like this yet until we have. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome feature, and we'll be improving it over time. Cool. This is kind of a neat thing that's coming in 4.12. We're using for kind of debugging rendering artifacts and whatnot. But the way it works is you kind of you're in the level editor, you go to the window menu and you pull up Pixel Inspector. And it brings up this panel, and while this is up, you can just hover over anything in the scene, and it will show you
this panel will fill out and show you kind of the making of that pixel, like everything that kind of went into it. Not everything, but some of the most useful stuff, like what landed in the G buffer at that position on the screen, and what kind of went into making the final color that you see. So it can be useful in just kind of seeing what's going on, like what was the roughness value. This doesn't look realistic, that kind of stuff. So we hope it will be useful, and it'd be great to get feedback on that, because we need to know, like, hey, are people using it? Is it useful? What features is it totally missing?
Yeah, and as a nice new debug tool, I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to try that one. I know that it's kind of like one of the things that I hear a lot about. It's just like more debug tools, like any kind of debug tools. We love them, so this is great. And just the ability to point at something and go like, why are you this color?
Totally. Yep, hopefully it'll be useful. And then finally, with this one, we have actor merge tool. So this has been in the engine for a while, but it's been experimental. And in 4.12, it's finally kind of grown up, and we're using it. We want you guys to use it. But it's great for performance. You can reduce your draw call count. You get some other advantages too. Sometimes it can be useful for making LODs. But basically, you can select some actors, bring up the merge actor tool from the window menu in the level editor, and then you can kind of automatically create new meshes from them, that is the union of all those meshes or those actors that you selected. And then it has some cool options, like you can control whether the materials should be automatically merged. You can generate specific LODs. It'll generate physics data for the new mesh by merging the physics from the original meshes if you want to. And then kind of like there's a whole hierarchy kind of view too. I don't have a screenshot of it, but there'll be more documentation. But anyways, just another cool tool to get better performance out of your maps. The underlying functionality here is used already by our hierarchical LOD system. So they're kind of like, it's part of the same system in a way. Like if you check merge materials, it kind of works the same way that HLog would merge materials. Yeah,
that's really useful.
And then there's a bunch of other stuff in 4.12. I didn't have time to go through each one by one, but they'll be in the release notes.
Here's a bunch of pictures.
Just pictures. But
this is actually what the release notes are going to be. Is just a bunch of pictures. You get the idea. It's a lot.
I'll mention a few of them really quick. Really quick. So we have web browser on iOS now, so you can web browser widget. We have this new kind of twist corrective animation node up here that lets you do more realistic kind of head transitions by allowing you to weight in a morph target based off the relative twist rotation on one bone to another. So it's just going to get you more realistic. Like you can see how our neck kind of bends on realistically here, but better over here.
And it causes that material to stretch, and that looks really weird.
Exactly. Yep. We have a full scene FBX importer. It's kind of new to level editor, so you can export a scene from a DCC package like Blender or Max or Maya, like a whole scene's worth of stuff, and then import it as like actors or even blueprint components, all together with their spatial relationship intact. And it supports static meshes, skeletal meshes, and even creating materials for you. It's still the beginning of this tool, but it's already useful if you just made a bunch of stuff in a modeling program and you just want to get into Unreal real quick to just see how it looks like. It's kind of like your fast way to do that.
Yeah, big full scene import. Yeah, I mean, that's something that a lot of people have been asking for a little bit now, so it's good to see that one's going in there.
Other stuff, we have kind of bitmask support for new properties and blueprints, so you can have like just bit fields instead of just bools and ints. Gosh, what else do we have? This tool appears as your selective LOD, so for physics meshes now, you can actually use a lower LOD for the complex collision rather than always the highest resolution mesh. It's great if you have a mesh with a lot of LODs, and there's no point wasting performance on using the highest resolution mesh for something like bullet collision if your low-res LODs look pretty close to that and have way less polygons. So another cool little performance feature. Stuff I can't show here, but like networking stuff, we have better support for backwards compatibility for replays. So replay data for your games will survive multiple engine versions, ideally. And a bunch of movement, kind of like cheat protection actually for multiplayer games that went in to help UT and Paragon. And we're always working on security, but we've made that gameplay server more robust. If you want to, you can have your game kind of keep track of the character's movement, the client's movement, and detect and compensate for expected or suspected cheating. Cool. Okay. Oh man, how are we for time?
Oh, you're good. Oh, we're not on any kind of time constraint.
Okay. So
the only thing is, eventually we got to make sure that we announce the game jam winners and play some games together.
Okay, so I want to talk a little. That's all stuff for 4.12. I always talk a little bit about upcoming releases if I can. I'd like to talk a little bit about what's coming
Next.
413. This is always my favorite time, is when we get to talk about the next release.
Because like a lot of this stuff, remember, like, you know, there's like kind of like 3 week, a month kind of. We've been working on 413 a while, right? So that's almost a little bit more fresh in my head than 412 because it's been in QA land and hotfix, bug fix land for a little while. But so I just have like a random smattering of some things from 413. I thought it'd be fun to talk about that, and some of this is in 413. To be clear, some of it might be. Who knows? Some of it is like prototype and might not even make it into a release. But
it's always important to know that these are features as they exist now, but as we're getting rid of bugs, we will find that we have to insert them into the proper build based on how stable they are, not on their existence.
Yeah, and also some of these are just, sometimes they don't work out, right? Like they're just grand experiments. So this is a cool thing that Ori showed me last week. It's this physics-driven animation. Let's see if this works.
Yeah, hit full screen on that.
Oh, sweet, that works in slides. So basically, it's. Or we thought it'd be fun if we could do a little more with our characters.
Just boop him in the face with it.
And so it's like it's not full body IK, but it's basically you can take rigid bodies and smush them into your skeleton meshes and your physics asset and have the character kind of like recoil appropriately and get pushed out of the way and kind of maintain.
Hey, I'm walking here.
It's funny, like how he still sort of looks like he's crawling, like the toe contact.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, his toes are actually kind of moving with it. Oh, and then just bonk. This could really just be a game in and of itself, where it's just like GTA, like people going through their normal lives, and then you just come up and boom, boom. This is far too entertaining to watch.
I could watch this all day.
It's very abusive, though. I wasn't sure. We need a more pleasant way to show this.
Wait, can you rewind it a little? Where he like, I like there in the dramatic hand throw. That's so great. Like he does like this.
So what's happening here is like it's sort of letting the physics
look at that
asset just take the impact, and then we're blending back to the animation. There's probably some transition. I don't know how Ori has it set up because I haven't got to use it myself yet, but you see, like, good fun to be had with that.
That's so cruel and amazing all at the same time.
Yeah, I'll mention too, like, the physics team's done some work where...
Get hit present up there again.
The physics team's doing some work to make ragdolls. To make it, we want it built in so that you can make ragdolls that just get up. After they've been completely like punished, and I've seen that working too. So it's just cool stuff that'll hopefully really easy for you guys to add to your games too, in Unreal. Okay,
amazing.
We have a bunch of new VR editor stuff that we're doing that isn't in 412. This is just one of the features. This is basically an improved transform gizmo that's kind of more familiar to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the one that Yannick and Sam were on, and Yannick got to show this off.
Yeah, that's right. So he posted on the forums, but. So we made a transform gizmo for our GDC demo. It had some cool things to it, but also some of it was like a little clunky.
It was like visually cluttered and
So this one, and you can switch between still translate, rotate, scale, etc. But that'll be coming in 413. This is kind of a cool feature. We're working on experimenting with Alembic playback. So Alembic is kind of like streamed vertex and material data and storing it kind of in textures. The animation here is extremely short. Sorry, but the idea is that. This gives you the power to kind of create an animation that just really wouldn't be possible with skeletal animation with like skinned weights because you're just going so crazy. It's often used in the movies for destruction or so this will be. It's still really early. We don't know when this is going to land or when it will be finished. But we want you to be able to import Alembic files and then kind of play them back. This is a really cool feature that everyone's going to love. James is really excited about it.
They really sharpened it up, yeah.
Yeah, so this lets you kind of customize the static mesh editor so that you can have kind of custom scene profiles. And you can have kind of like different setups for lighting. And you can have like a turntable kind of effect too where the lights move and stuff like that. So while you're kind of working on your static mesh, you can kind of see a nicer view of the whole thing.
This is just instantly useful for anyone trying to set up mood in a scene and they have to see the materials, composition, color versus like the lighting in the scene. Going ahead and just throw your lighting settings into here and seems cool.
Yeah, I think in the future, obviously, we'd like this kind of feature in all of the sub-editors that have something with 3D in them. So at first it might be weird that you can use this in static mesh editor, but it's absent from Persona, but eventually we would like it more ubiquitous. But this is kind of just the start of it. Cool. And then this is kind of the last one I want to show.
It took me a second to realize I'm
See
looking at
what's
the
going on?
shadow of the belt. It looks, and the buckle there is so much sharper with the contact shadows enabled.
So Brian Karras is working on this feature, and this is actually in 4.13.
Of course, Brian has. He's a genius. This is amazing.
He's a genius. So this is actually available in Master Branch now.
Whoa.
But basically, what this gets you is really high detail, ray trace depth shadows, kind of in the cracks of your model, like really high resolution. So it's screen spaced ray trace shadows, right? So normally, if you have a cascaded shadow map, it falls off in quality pretty quickly. Like the resolution just gets too low for you to appreciate shadow detail on kind of like little doodads on a character like clothing or foliage on the ground. So the cool thing about this, though, it doesn't run in isolation. What it does is it blends seamlessly into the regular cascaded shadow map as the resolution. So basically, you're using both techniques at the same time. Yeah. When you get close enough to appreciate the fine shadow detail, this thing just fades in.
So performance-wise, if you're not up close to it, you're still getting some performance. But when you actually get in, it changes and turns it on. So is this going to eat up a lot of your GPU or?
I don't think it's too expensive. I don't have the numbers. Probably Brian will come on and talk about it sometime, or those guys will. I know it does cost something, but we want to use it in our games eventually, obviously. So we're trying to make it super fast.
We'll try to optimize it real fast.
I doubt the version in Master Branch right now is super optimized, but we can try it out. Here's another picture too that shows this is with it off in kind of Agora, the Paragon level, and this is on.
Oh wow! There's instantly so much more pop in the details.
You go back and forth. You can see like screen space shadows just add a lot. Like every little rock has a shadow.
Yeah.
The foliage that was missing shadows just kind of get it. You can see down there.
Yeah, especially up the cliff face, the little rocks on the ground, and even in that little the tree in the back that I want to say sort of like a pseudo cherry blossom tree, but you can see that the color in it suddenly gets deeper.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully that shows up on Twitch. I know it might be a little too low res on Twitch, but it really does make a big difference in visual quality, and I don't think the performance will be too bad. And so that's kind of what I had for new stuff, at least picture-wise. I had a few things. I'll just rattle off some other cool stuff, since we'll just take as long as we want here.
Yeah.
It's not even 3 o'clock. On VR Editor, we're adding vertex paint and texture paint. So the familiar tools that we have for texture painting and vertex painting will now work with the VR Editor, which is pretty fun, just painting using remote motion controllers in VR. We're going to also have screenshot support in VR. We have flashlights, so you can wield a flashlight on either hand, which can be useful. It's kind of like a fun little thing.
This is pre-built little flashlight. That's cool.
Yep. And then the VR team, they're working on a VR project template to make it easy for you to create a new project that is super VR optimized.
Yep.
And I've been seeing tidbits of that. It's going to be really cool.
I think it was. I think we had Nick mention it on the previous stream about. I think Sam and Wes, or Sam's working on it. At least I know that. But yeah, so that should be really cool and really useful for getting started.
The core team's working on faster load times in general, so just optimizing loading of stuff, and especially asynchronous loading of things, to get your games to load faster on all platforms. We also are making tremendous optimizations to the cooker, so packaging your game and cooking content for your game. We're seeing cook times up to 50% faster in the next release, the 4.13 Plus, so that's going to be a really nice thing. Blueprint team's doing a blueprint profiler for optimizing performance of game thread. There's a really cool feature that, I don't think it's in 4.12, I think it's 4.13 that Dan and Wright just added with rendering to a texture in Blueprint and then sourcing that texture, so you can do kind of feedback loop effects all in Blueprint.
Whoa.
So you can be a rendering programmer now in Blueprint by kind of drawing whatever you want to a texture and then using that texture and drawing it, sourcing it again like a feedback loop. Yeah. So we're seeing some really cool kind of applications of that internally.
I feel like you're going to be some avant-garde art projects out of that.
Yeah, we've already seen a few of them. It's really cool, but it's kind of nice to see more rendering features exposed to scripting, which is always requested more and more of. Kind of on the more distant side, I know the animation team's looking at kind of doing a big overhaul of the Persona animation editor to make things a little more cohesive, bring the Unreal Physics asset tool, the FAT tool, kind of under that umbrella too. So it ends up being this kind of like general animation host system where different subtools could live inside of. So that'll be a big thing. Sequencer is getting even more cool stuff from 4.13 and beyond. We're working on audio recording, like actually recording from a microphone or recording from your system computer and laying down tracks.
That's awesome.
We're working on video file tracks so that you can bring in actual video files. And imagine if you have a storyboard that's done as just like an ABI or something. Like you can bring that in and sit that there next to your real-time 3D work as you're working and kind of play it back and scrub it just like that.
That's very useful. Yeah, just bringing it up on like another screen out of a menu.
And then there's a whole host of kind of more kind of cinema world stuff. Like they're adding support for data exchange between Adobe Premiere so that you can, if you wanted to, you can export your cinematic shot layout, render it out automatically to like a video file, separate shot name video files, and then bring the structure of the takes and shots into Premiere, do more arrangement there with the video files, and then bring, because some people are trained in Premiere Pro, and that's where they do that, and then bring their results of their video editing back into Sequencer, and it will update all the shots, and now you'll be able to view it all in real time. So just really cool kind of awesome stuff that we could never have done before. Sequencer.
That's incredible. I mean, I just know so many people when we actually showed Sequencer, they were asking like, well, we use Premiere. This is kind of like it, but there's this and this and this, and they actually started like feature requesting us to be like it. And so this is just a fantastic way of us being us, and then you can still work in Premiere. So that's fantastic.
Yes, of course. Long term, everyone working on Unreal.
Oh, and chat's losing their minds for this. So good work.
Sweet. I mentioned before when we talked about the Oculus forward rendering work that we're working on our own kind of low detail, not low detail really, it's high detail capability, but our own forward implementation of a simplified forward renderer that has a more limited feature set than the full desktop deferred, but also is more of a desktop render than our current mobile renderer. So that's in progress right now.
Awesome.
And then
chat wants me to let you know that they love you, and
hey, it's really the Sequencer team. I have the privilege of coming up on the show and talking about everyone's awesome stuff.
But it's always this huge effort of a lot of people.
It totally is. Gosh. Okay,
so I totally threw off your train of thought. Totally derailed it with that "love you" comment.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna actually stop there. That's like, I feel like I'm just. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, no. If you give them too much all at once, then you're not gonna have anything to show in the next one, right?
Oh, so, there's always more.
Good work, Shelley. You put it in that beautiful frame. Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much for showing off all those amazing features. It looks like 4.12 is going to be incredible. 4.13 and beyond just has way more fanciness to check out. So,
yep. Yeah, I'm really proud of the team. They did a great job with this release. It feels stable. It feels good. Has a ton of awesome features. We'll see how people like VR Editor and try it out. And it's a crazy new, strange world of trying to figure out how to fuse this huge desktop application with VR and motion controls, and then the new sequencer tool that so excited that we're shipping it, and it can convert your existing data, and it has all these awesome features. So yeah, it's gonna be a good release.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So we're gonna do Game Jam, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's do Game Jam before we do Q&A.
Okay, yeah. So Mike wants to play some games.
Oh, I'm playing? Oh gosh.
Well, I mean, they're on this here, and since it's all right. So yeah, we've had the video kind of running down there and down here, but that's the entries compiled together by Jess Hyder. Half of them, it's like a scatter of a ton of work from a lot of different people. Me, Jess, and Chance. Thank you, Jess, so much for putting together the video and helping me do the jam testing and actually playing through all the games. It's always a huge undertaking. So many fun games to play, and we want to play them well enough, thoroughly, and really understand what your thought process was and how much effort you put into it. So now we actually get to talk about the people who won. But first, I always like to talk about the honorable mentions. So Jess and I actually had a lot of crossover in our honorable mentions, so I'm just going to list off all of the honorable mentions. Nixie by Ren and Nixie was a fantastic first-person platforming game where we've had a lot of fun. I really loved the depth of field thing you had going on. It was a very powerful depth of field effect, and then just really stylized environments. I like throwing around the mushrooms to grow mushrooms that you jump on. Very strange and really fun environment setup. Big Wings by Growbit, gorgeous gliding game. You play as this huge bird. It's like a phoenix-looking thing, and everything's very unique, stylized. The bird itself looks great, and as it dives, it its wings fold back, and there's like this great animation to it. It's very organic looking. It's beautiful. This one came pretty close. This is actually 2 honorable mentions are VR games. We had 6 Vive games entered into this one. So this is actually the most VR games we haven't entered into, and it's probably because I said, hey, hit me with your VR games. Thank you. I had a great time. Kitty Bounce, I have to say, hilarious game. Just picking up this little trampoline, and there's a princess or a maiden of some sort throwing cats out of this tower, and you have to bounce them into these stacks of hay. I was particularly bad at it, but I had a great time when I actually succeeded. It was a very satisfying feeling of, I saved a cat, yay! Good game, a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to play on the Vive. I remember that one distinctly because I punched a chair attempting to grab something really quick. I was like, wham! Why did I do that? But that's what people get for leaving a chair within the bounds of like the Vive's little, you make that little safety bounds, and then someone leaves their chair in it, and then you forget to take it out. You punch a chair. So that's it. Now it's spelled VRKOUT, but Workout by Alexotronic. And I'm going to pronounce it Workout because it reminds me of Hans and Franz from SNL, the way it's spelled here. It's like, we're going to pump you up. And it's an actual workout game. You do squats, and it was just kind of based off of the camera height going up and down. Just very funny concept. I had a lot.
What was the theme of this one again?
This one, so I should have mentioned the theme.
These are not cohesive to me.
The theme was what goes down must come up. So the cats were thrown down. You had to toss them back up. And in this one, yes, you have to go down and up. And so that was a pretty fun. I just thought that one was particularly funny because Alexatronic sent it to me with a video file of a woman working out and explaining how to do squats properly. And so I open it up, and the first thing I did is like, well, there's a video, and I open that up, and a guy walks in from IT, kind of walks in behind me, and like this woman shows up, and she's like, all right, we're gonna start doing this thing, and like the guy looks at me like, I don't know what to say right now. It just started. I didn't know what it was, and just looked kind of funny for a second there. As I'm like, I guess I'm doing workout at work, but yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. It was pretty silly. So let's see here. What goes down must come up was a fun theme. Really got some great games. Not a surprising amount of them were about vomiting. Guys, come on. But Jess secretly loved Chunder Man a whole ton also. She didn't want to broadcast it a lot, but she left her notes on it, and she seemed to have really enjoyed the one about being a superhero who vomits on things. You can tell that we're pretty mature over here. Yep. So let's see. The actual full-on winners. Dun, 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 dun. Let me get out of here. First up, we're gonna open this, bring it on over, and this time I did thoroughly test everything for Shelly because last time one of the games did not want to open up for me.
Thank you.
Yep.
This game looks awesome.
This is an amazing one. All right. Right. Okay. All right. There we go. So first up, Shelly, jump to the thing. All right. Cool. It's Hook Up by The Lone Jammer, which is a single, a solo entry by Exy, Cedric. Exy is one of our mods and has been a close buddy of ours who's been just doing awesome stuff out there in the world, but made this game. I played it, showed it to a bunch of people, and I haven't seen a single person that wasn't just like, please, 1, let me play it, and 2, is there a VR version of it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I saw it today.
It kind of reminds me of Windlands, but basically the concept is you're trying to get places and you have like these hook shots and okay, so if I swing around a little bit, I can get better, I can get some better angles here and throw myself over here, and then maybe, yep, there, so you have to do like a vine swinging.
It's crazy.
With this.
Bionic Bungee Commando.
Oh, it is totally like Bionic Commando.
Yeah, except for...
No! Oh,
good catch.
Yeah, so I do, whoops, I managed to clip myself a little. No, it's good. Good collision, there we go. Okay, up.
It's just bouncy compared.
It's very happy. Like, I actually like that the physics themselves are almost sort of happy and they throw you around and bounce you pretty good. Ha! Just don't want to fall. Just want some solid land. There we go. Okay, so you're trying to get up high, get around, and then I think it's over there. You're trying to like escape the level basically, but you have to use rocks that are crazy high up, all sorts of places. It's really fun, but it's also tricky. The core mechanics being that you have these two.
Oh, you can fire them independently, so you can combo.
And so that way, one you can swing one to the other, and the other thing is if you hit them with both, each one has a separate pull strength. So if you hit it with the same thing in the same spot, you'll pull really hard to that spot, and you can fling yourself, or you can use one to kind of swing, but it will still pull you slightly. So I need to get up here, and I think the best way for me to do that is probably going to be to use that rock, and sling myself. Like, see if I use the doubles.
Sweet.
Yeah, the doubles throw you a little
It's all
bit
about
harder.
inertia in this guy.
Yep. It is. Oh no! So you have to be careful not to actually throw yourself into the rock or accidentally fall to your death. Whew! I actually managed to toss myself here. So excellent use of theme. Really into the visuals
Looks
of
awesome.
this world. I'm actually kind of. It almost seems like it has its own. Like, there's like steampunk and diesel punk. It's almost like floaty punk or something. But it's really nice. And then, just mechanically, it's just so much fun. And one person did this, and asset-wise, it was 99.9% just his stuff. So again, so much effort from one person, and you put in the time, energy, effort, you come up with something really awesome. I just really hope I can get through these more difficult parts. Okay. Whew. All right, I managed to get up here. Now I'm gonna try to sling myself over there. Haha. Okay, so now I'm using the one at a time so I can have some rope slinging action.
What happens if you grapple two different objects independently?
You'll actually kind of catch yourself between them.
You can suspend yourself.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of fun. And
Can
you'll
you
kind
slingshot yourself?
Yeah, you can. The physics of it is really incredible.
It's like low G.
Yeah, you can tell that it was one of those things like he threw together some of the physics here and some of the physics there, and then like just emergent gameplay took effect, and then it was like, okay, just leave it that way because the emergent gameplay is so good.
Get this guy a Vive. We need the motion controller version of this.
You hear that? Mike Fricker endorsing you for a Vive, Cedric. I mean, that's a good endorsement right there, right? I'll have to talk to Chance about. Oh no, Dev Grants. Okay, don't fall. No head. No. Okay. Okay. Well, I think they're starting to get the idea. I did manage to get really far into it, but it did take me a while because. There we go.
That's cool.
Yeah. So. It's a lot of fun. Eventually you make your way up, see, you kind of stone step there to there to there, go up and then across. It's pretty fun, pretty difficult. Can't wait to see more out of this. Would love to see just more levels, more everything. And VR version, of course, would be crazy. There's a game called Windlands that's sort of similar-ish, kind of, but I would love to see this. It'd be a lot of fun. All right, so excellent work. Quit the desktop. Great job. It's a badge, and I don't know if I got a chance to iterate this time, but I'll make sure to say it now. Everyone who wins will be receiving a badge on the forums, a gift package of a t-shirt and a bunch of stickers and stuff, and a copy of AIPD, and everyone in your team will be receiving Houdini indie licenses.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's for everyone who wins, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then at the end of the stream, before we do Q&A, we'll do the Intel raffle. So Intel's Achievement Unlock program, of course, is awesome, and they sponsored us and gave us a bunch of these Intel hardware products for the jams. So we love to raffle those off and give them to the community. But next, I've got my next game on the list. So again, congrats to the Lone Jammer team. And congratulations to our next team. Oop. This goes here, and then that goes there. All right, Shelly, jump. So the next winner is Tempest by Joe Benron. So this is a really beautiful, stylized game. I'll just read the thing here. You inhabit a large hourglass, each end of which contains a town. Whilst in either town, you should locate and solve puzzles in order to collect crystals. Be sure to make haste, as the town will be rapidly filling with sand, quickly making areas unavailable. So yeah, it's pretty interesting and exciting. Mike, would you like to try this one?
Gosh. Sure.
Yeah, I tried the last one.
This is going to be intense, though.
Yeah.
I'm good with time limits.
Okay, so it's WASD to move, space to jump, E to interact. Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And keep an eye out for that symbol, because yeah, that's where you're gonna want to look for the clues. Okay.
Oh, sweet. Cool. Oh, that's a nice style too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the character is just so amazing. Jess was the one that I think did the testing of this one, but then pointed it out. Just like, look at this. It's gorgeous. It's fun. And yeah, you tend to want to get up the lower things first and then work your way up.
Okay, here we go.
But you have to be careful to not accidentally throw yourself down there and just like die.
Got it.
It's got sand. But yeah, you're...
Oh, it's filling up right now.
Yeah. Oh no, it just starts immediately.
I'm totally not going down there then. You actually need to go down there for something?
Well, there's clues in like the lower area, and then as it fills up, it cuts you off, so you have to be careful.
Alright.
So, well, you don't want to go down there now. You spent so much time, and now it's going to fill past the threshold.
Oh, man.
Now you got to get up. Oh.
I got this.
No, yeah, you were really skilled at this platforming thing. Normally, what's funny is normally Jess will make me do the platformers because she's not particularly good at platformers.
Oh, there's something cool down there. I'm going to miss it.
Uh-huh. There it goes. Bye-bye.
I gotta get up here.
Yep. Oh. So this is amazing. You were like crazy good at this. Is it got good air control to it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's totally.
I
the
felt that it
control-
was
the
good.
controller's solid.
Yeah.
That's why.
I'm really a huge fan of the character too. He's fun looking. He's got like the backpack full of stuff.
Well, I'm not gonna crack this now.
No, you have to. You still have to like go down and get things. Oh well, I think I think
we're
it's
gonna
gonna get you now. 'Cause, yeah, you basically have to.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh man! Oh man!
Nope. Yep. Bad stuff happening.
Can still make it somewhere.
Oh wow.
He doesn't sink in the sand.
No, you have to.
Kind of surf on it.
Yeah, you have to like get to things before the sand overtakes it, and then you can.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the world will
Yeah.
shift, and then here you go. You're shifting.
Oh. What?
Yeah. Isn't that great?
What is? Oh, it's an hourglass. Oh yeah.
Look to the left. Yeah, so you can like still look around, and then boom.
What?
So now you're in this new town.
That's
so you got to
awesome.
move fast. Yeah. This is probably better to start you off at the bottom anyway, because otherwise there's like a chance he'll just jump into the middle and. Oh yeah, you got to move quick. Oh
Okay,
dang.
that's what I need.
No. Oh no.
Oh no! Oh, weird. I ended up at the top.
Oh well, yeah, you got smushed. So I think that's like its death thing.
Let's see if I can interact with stuff. So E to interact.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that one you have to kind of get into. There's a few clues kind of rolling around. You have to kind of pick them up, but you almost have that one.
So it will just keep turning over and over again.
Yeah, you have to pick up enough clues to. Yep. Yeah, this one. I mean, quality-wise, this one's just gorgeous looking.
Super original idea too.
The idea is original. Does the parakeet have a little hat on in his little? Yeah, I think
He's got a fez on.
it has a little fez like him. He's got a fez and it has a fez, and it's like a little chubby bird. Oh, it's so cute. And then yeah, the town got covered. Okay, we'll get a clue eventually.
Yes.
We'll get a clue eventually. And I'm really into his Mike Kime level beard. Like it's just huge. It's like almost. It's like at the Joe Kreiner level of beards. Except for Joe's doesn't come into a nice like braid like that. Joe won't let me braid his beard. It's really unfortunate.
It's pretty cool though.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like
Let's see what happens.
just the level itself, the little world that gets built. It's unfortunate that it gets covered so quickly, actually, because it's just too much fun to explore. And then the world's you turn into sand yourself, and I love that effect. You turn into sand, dissolve, and then the world flips.
Yeah, I want to see the transition a little better this time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, cool. Now this time we'll probably have a good chance. So wherever that symbol is means that there's a crystal that you can get to. So maybe you can hop up there and platform a little to it. It's on top of the one rock.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
And
Got it.
there we go. Yep, now you got one.
Oh, man, this is really...
Yeah, it's pretty tricky. Like I said, once this bottom part fills out, you kind of have to move quick.
It's definitely going to require multiple passes unless you're really fast.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely built around the idea that you gotta basically run down, grab a couple of them.
Oh, yes.
Oh, get it.
I got it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one.
Yep. So
Oh,
you gotta like
fire.
work your way up.
I see. So there's probably like a flow to it, where you can
Yeah.
probably actually do most.
I wouldn't
of
be
the
surprised
passes.
if the designers actually have like if you go from here to here to here, you can do it in 2 passes kind of strategy.
Oh, not good.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, speedrunners would be really into something like this, right? So it's like try to do it 1 pass each time, or something like that.
Yeah.
This is like its own genre. That's actually my favorite thing about game jams is it's the most likely place to see a new genre of game just emerge because time constraints, limitations, not thinking about how do you market it. You know, it's just make a game, make it in these themes.
Come on, there's gotta be something in here.
Don't die.
Oh, maybe I can push that.
I don't think you can actually die.
No, I don't think I can either. No, I don't see a crystal on this one.
That's funny.
You guys can't hear the sound, but he grunts and stuff, and it's really good.
Grunting. Oh,
He was like,
oh, that's right. He does. He's.
"Ugh."
Oh, flippy time.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh, that's a pretty neat effect.
Whoa.
Yeah, you can kind of feel when the level transition happens there for a second, but I mean, other than that, it's a pretty cool effect. Oh, there's a red one.
I know.
Get
As
it
you're
down.
falling, you
It's like-
see
it's like,
you see like 10 crystals.
get it. Yes. His little legs are just the funniest to me. He's really hustling, and his legs are just so tiny.
It's locked up.
Yeah, I
Maybe this.
cannot figure out what that one was, like to get into those cages. That's kind of where I got stuck on those. I couldn't win, unfortunately, but I just had such a good time and I ended up kind of like looking around the level more than anything else too.
Oh, buttons.
Oh yeah, you want to hit
Oh, that's what it is.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's some way to open that.
Oh, well, you discovered that. I didn't even figure that one out. So I was just looking at it like, oh, those are cool, like environment pieces. Yeah, that's
Cool.
nice.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
See you in the next game.
Yeah.
Definitely a great job.
Yeah, so excellent job. Hey, where's the exit? Oh, am I gonna... Aha, console command, quit. Remember, if you don't make escape to exit, please allow me to use console commands to quit. Otherwise, I have to like sit here and...
Alt F4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, cool. All right, and our third and final finalist is...
Cool.
Graham Little, What's Up Block. Okay, so I'm gonna let you take this one.
Oh,
also.
really?
It's
Yeah.
it's a puzzle game. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so I'm a block.
Yes, so you're.
I haven't
going
seen this
to-
one yet, so tell me about it.
Okay, so you're able to flip the world back and forth, up and down, and that's how it fits into the theme. There you go. And so you're trying to combine blocks of matching style. Hang on, sorry.
Trying to figure out how to interact.
Oh,
Because,
no, you know what? I'm gonna let you.
Oh, I see it come forward and back.
So yeah, you move with WASD. You move the selection block.
Yeah, that's what. I
Yeah,
can
okay.
totally move that.
With the
What is the
arrow
button?
keys.
There must be a button I'm missing.
E is flip, and then R is reset the level.
all right.
Yeah, well, R is reset. You don't want to do that one. And then yeah. Oh right. If you push the blocks down with spacebar, and so if it's
Oh, I see.
so you might want to like hop onto the pink one if you can.
I haven't found a jump.
Oh no, you have to like move it over. And it's a little bit easier with a controller than.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think what I need to do is be able to select that block. Do we have a controller?
You know, I don't have a 360 controller because I figured since it works on this, you do it. But if we need a controller, I might be able to get one brought in here real quick.
I'm not sure if I can progress. I see a cool green cube over there that I want.
Let me see if maybe I can get it to do the thing. Or, no, you got it?
Nope.
Okay, let me see here.
Nowhere key.
Nowhere key? Alright, maybe it's just a little glitchy. It might just be glitching a little. Let me see here. Press R to reset. Oh, it's arrow keys.
Oh, no, it was D. Oh, I see. Cool.
So if I press E on that, that's the one. If I could have just remembered that much. And then, yeah, WASD is this, and then this is based off of the arrow key, and then if you're flipped or not. And then, yeah, now I can progress over, and I can do that. Oh, didn't want to do that. So I want to take this one. No. No, oh, accidentally made myself get up higher than I wanted to. Aha, there we go. So now, see, that's how it kind of goes. And so it's a kind of puzzle platforming kind of thing where you're trying to just solve the level out, and oop, didn't want to do that. And also you have to kind of be conscious of.
I see. Whenever you flip, whatever select it moves down one.
Yeah, or up one, depending on which direction you're in.
Right.
Actually, we're okay, but thank you so much. Chances over here being super helpful in bringing us the 360 controller. Like, right, why is it not wanting to? There it goes. And so now you progress to the green.
Sweet.
So here, I'm going to give that one back to you. It was the arrow keys. So yeah, it's a little bit easier on the controller because you can just kind of get that free range of movement. There you go.
Hold on a second here. Oh, I see.
Yep. Uh-huh. How is it? Yeah. There you go. So yeah, it's this very clever and unique concept. I haven't quite seen anything like that. But oh yeah, then colors matter too, because similar colors means they move.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what I missed. Got it.
So you're gonna want to try to get the purple blocks like moved over, and then yeah. So it's like a little bit Tetrisy in that sense. Like a bunch of things have to kind of move out of the way to move. So it's like those lower two blocks. You almost want those to go like down.
Can I select downward?
I think that one selects it. Try E? No? There you go. I had it for a second. Oh, yeah, try moving over one. Yeah, try that one. No? Huh.
These guys move.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how this one's solved.
Oh, there must be
Well, you can
3D ones.
Well, you can put it off to the side so that it doesn't move anything, basically.
Oh, I can lift myself up. That's
Oh,
cool.
derp.
That makes sense.
Yeah, then you can just move those.
Yeah.
There you go. Uh-huh.
Down we go. Ta-da.
Excellent.
Cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Definitely another super unique idea.
Oh yeah, this is. I look at this as like as a mobile game potential kind of thing. Like you see it and you're like, oh okay. Like if this was on mobile though, this would be super easy to do with touch controls. You know, it's just select which block you want to select, and then have like a little D-pad for movement. It doesn't even have to be a D-pad. It just needs to be a left and right. Because okay, you're gonna make me motion.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
That one was getting me for a second there. I can do VR all day, but for some reason that one couldn't look at that for too long.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be one that gets you a little dizzy if you play it too long, though. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Again, Fresh Lemonade, What's Up Block, great puzzle game, a lot of fun. Sorry for a second there, I had like a brain fart. Couldn't remember how you actually move the cursor around, but yeah, super nice. And thank you so much to everybody who participated. All three of our winners will have you guys a shipment of all the t-shirts, swag. I'll talk to you all about getting you codes for the things, and I'll send over your information to Side Effects so you can get your Houdini licenses. Thank you all so much for participating. Oh yeah, and you'll also be on the spotlights for the week on the launcher because Game Jam winners get that. So
Sweet.
Great job,
Awesome.
nice work. Last thing before we get to Q&A is the Game Jam Raffle. So, as you all know, last month we had the Intel SSDs, but this month things have been switched up. We got new awesome hardware to give away. It's a wireless keyboard plus compute stick combo. So we have wireless keyboards that are pretty slick. They have a little touchpad on them and everything. And then a compute stick, which you can stick into any given monitor and you're kind of done as far as making a PC out of it. You just pop it in. It's got like a little OS on it. You can run a bunch of stuff, load up things onto it. It's really useful. It's kind of like, you know, people take a Raspberry Pi and they plug it into a, you know, monitor and turn it into a mini PC. It's all pre-built. You don't have to know anything special to it. Just plug and go. So that's really useful, and the wireless keyboard works with it. So that's kind of why they come together. You get one of each if you get chosen for the raffle, not one or the other. So pretty nice. Alrighty. So for our first winner, we have...
I love that.
Joey, you're the best.
Just trying to add some, you know, celebration.
Little pizzazz, little flair. Jazz it up a little. Needs a little zazz. Alright. Our first winner is Tucker Paxton. Tucker, congratulations. Also, you have a very cool name, Tucker Paxton. Sounds like a main character in a game. Cool. All right. Next winner is whoa, this is electric. Manu. I think I only got your first name out of this, but Manu, congratulations. You have been selected.
Cool.
I can look up your info on my big sheet of info. And let's see here. Our next winner is... Oh, this winner's number was 42, which is awesome. 42. Tommy Smith. Tommy Smith, congratulations.
Cool. Congrats.
Tommy Smith. All right. All right, you ready? This is the fourth and final raffle winner.
Oh, there's 4?
Oh, yeah, there's a fourth one. Yeah. Oh, did you run out of graphics?
Queue up another graphic.
We queued up 3 total graphics.
You can't do it without the graphic, right?
Yep.
Hang on just a second.
Wait, hang on. She's queuing up a graphic. Everyone gets a graphic.
It's sun.
Everyone gets one, and there's your graphic. Perfect. So your shining, smiling sun here is for Josiah Ward. Cool. Josiah, excellent work. You got chosen. Excellent work at being lucky, I suppose. The random number generator selected you. Good job. So, congratulations to everybody. Oh, the sun's gone. Oh. But congratulations to Tucker, Manu, Tommy, and Josiah. Really excellent. Thank you all for participating. We have... How many people is this in this list? It's huge. 118 total people, individuals were involved in this. I believe it was 57 or 58 total teams, 6 sent Vive games, so we actually had 6 VR entries, so every time we have one of these we have even more VR stuff to do, which is awesome. So yeah, incredible. This is actually the first time, I noted that this is the first time we had like about 58 pre-registrations and exactly like 58 submissions. And normally we'll have like totally different numbers of pre-registration and actual submissions. So pretty cool. It looks like everyone's actually signing up and going for it. So thank you all for pre-registering. And tomorrow I will put up the June UE4jam announce post, which will be where you can pre-register for that and start finding teams for it if you're interested. However, tomorrow is also when the, like I had said before, the Bot Says Jam will be happening, so do that too if you've got all the bandwidth for jamming, you know. So, awesome. Thank you all so much again, and we'll get those prizes out soon. Let's, you ready for some Q&A?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
I know we diverted a bit there, but now we're back to the 412. We're going to talk some Q&A. So, and if you've got questions and you're watching live, feel free to drop them in chat. We got people monitoring for those. Cool. Nice.
Such excitement.
You know, Shelley gets the people hyped up. She's really like the hype man of our entire team. It's this, and then she'll tweet like nice gifs of, you know, whatever wild thing she finds to promote the stream.
I hope there's audio to go with those transitions.
It needs like a crackling, burning, exploding effect. Oh, good. All right, cool. Oh, I like this question. I'm gonna start with this question because it's just so perfectly worded. It's Niagara? With a question mark. Yes, perfectly worded. Niagara?
Word on the street is that the team's spinning up to do development, or it's going to be a design phase first, I think. We're going to take a new look at it, but that's on the roadmap for this year. I'm not exactly sure what month we're starting it, if it's next week or if it's a month from now, but I know the team is excited to get going on it, so hopefully we do soon.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I know Lewis and I have been talking a little bit about it a little bit back, and I know Lewis is really looking forward to it. A bunch of our particle-heavy users are really ready to see something fun and new. I think it's partly Sequencer's fault for being so cool that everyone's like, well, Niagara will be, amazing, but they just keep kicking it up a notch. So that's probably where all that's coming from. All right, for 412.
I think it's worth mentioning, like, even though starting it soon, I mean, Sequencer took a while to develop.
Yeah.
And we'll continue developing Sequencer for a long time. So it's going to be the similar story with Niagara, right? We'll start development. We'll resume development, I should say, because we've gotten a decent way in. But it could be a little while before it shows up in a binary release enabled by default.
Yeah, we'll be seeing first. I'm sure it'll kind of go through that regular phase of first we'll go, hey, it's on GitHub, and then hey, it's an experimental. Hey, it's much nicer. Give it a shot, and it's like the first iteration, and then we'll be like, okay, it's really solid and a full feature at that point. But yeah, it's always iterations and steps. There's no way we could just here's software, it exists. You got a monkey.
Somebody said that Mike needed a monkey.
That monkey always shows up when I'm on the stream.
Well, people keep wanting you to have the monkey.
It's fine. I like the monkeys.
Awesome. So yeah, that's what's up with Niagara. Cool. No Visual Studio 2013. Does that mean no more -2013 flag?
Some of those flags are still there. It's possible, like I said earlier, with the source build to still compile your game for 2013. There might be some exceptions that I'm not aware of, but so we haven't completely eradicated all trace of 2013 support. So some of that stuff is still there, but you wouldn't use -2013 by default if you wanted 2015 project or 2013 project files. You would use that flag, but you shouldn't be using those flags if you're just working with 2015. But yes, we do support still generating 2013 project files if you pass it. Okay, I think I answered that one. That's good.
Yeah, that was the answer.
I realized it was a long way to get to the short answer at the end.
Yeah, technically, yeah. Okay, cool. Benefits of using a crane arm over physically moving and keyframing a camera.
There's a whole bunch of parameters that they have, right? And you can animate the parameters. You could still animate the camera if you could do a good job of that. But the whole idea here is it's not just the crane arm. There's 4 other different cinematic cameras that have kind of their own special superpowers for simulating kind of what you'd use in a virtual production setup. And hopefully they have just kind of useful properties that are just they get you what you want. You don't have to go and manually animate. That's the whole idea.
Oh yeah, it's just got a lot of basically, like you said, extra properties, things that'll just kind of help you build it as if it was an actual movie scene. And we have a stream with Grayson Edge on it where he just talks about what the benefits are there. So I think, yeah, it's a really good how to use Sequencer stream. So definitely check out the Sequencer stream with Grayson and Wes. It's very good.
I think Max Chen's putting in the release notes next week. He'll have links to some of the more useful streams right in the release notes and documentation as well.
Yeah, and another thing that's on the way to help with Sequencer stuff is they announced it on one of the previous streams that Max and his team are working on. They had converted over the fight sequence in the subway.
Reflection.
Yeah, that's it. And they had converted that over, and they're going to kind of have them side by side, Matinee and Sequencer. But I don't know if that's going to actually go out exactly when 412 goes, but it will be coming out as well, so that you can use it as a learning resource, which is going to be very cool. All right.
Yeah, the results of downloading 412, loading up the subway reflection scene, and converting it, the Matinee 2 sequencer, it'll probably work. Hopefully they tested it, but it's not going to be the same as if you built it from scratch in the sequencer. You're going to use all these different features, right, to arrange your shots a little differently. It's going to be so that's probably what will be demonstrated, just best practices.
Awesome. Can I use the Sequencer live capture features to create a system where players can click a button while browsing leaderboards to see an instant replay of someone's run through my game? I guess that's kind of like how Paragon sort of does that.
Yeah, so
But that's also
that's the replay system. So there's there's different ways you can capture gameplay now. It's kind of funny. We have almost 3 different ways, maybe 4 if you count kind of animation capture. But no, you wouldn't use Sequencer for that. At least that's not what we would do. In fact, the guts of Sequencer, a lot of the the capture stuff is probably editor functionality. You wouldn't see it in a game. But you probably what I'd suggest using, especially if it's a multiplayer game, is that you use our network replay system, which has been it's been in there since I think 4.8. It's just been steadily improved, and we improve it every release. But you can use that to just capture gameplay from your server's perspective, and then you can play it back, and it should work with your project out of the box. If you built your multiplayer game in an Unreal sort of way, it should just work. Might need some tweaks, but and then I'll also mention the network team's done a great deal of work recently on client-side replay capture too. So if it's a single-player game, or even a single-player game, you can use server capture. But if you want to capture from the client's perspective in a multiplayer game, you'll be able to do that too. I think that functionality is in 4.11 and 4.12 actually. It's just been improved, and we're still working on it. Mm-hmm. But certainly in the future, in 4.13 plus, we expect that to be like a first-class supported feature for client-side replay capture. So you have a whole bunch of options. I can't really think of anything you need above the network replay system. The only downside would be is if you didn't write your game as like kind of a multiplayer-ish kind of game, the replay stuff might not work out of the box. So that's one caveat there with that.
Okay, so yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. All right, bit of a divergence from that. Any word on Vertex animation support?
I don't have an update on that. I do know that Lena was saying today that animation teams plan to do a bunch of work on blend shapes for facial animation. I think they're working on it right now. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I didn't have on my list because I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I don't really know a whole lot about it. But I know we're doing a lot more with getting really super realistic faces, right? We've shown some of that with the Senua demo. We want to go further and further. It's not exactly Vertex animation, but I think the Alembic stuff that we showed, I had the slides for. That was kind of a version of Vertex animation that you could use if you had Alembic. But that's about all I know.
All right, that makes perfect sense then. Especially with what you were saying with Alembic, it's pretty clear that there's something there where Vertex could be done because it's all based off of Vertex positions.
I just don't have a timeline for it. It's just either of those new features, they're in progress, so don't know when exactly yet. We're still learning.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Now I have a feeling that this one's probably going to be a no, but can we merge actors during runtime using the merge actor tool?
No, I don't think so.
That's a pure editor.
It's an editor tool. Feature.
Yeah,
I can see how you could do it. I'm trying to think what the use case here.
I guess if you have something like a lot of dynamically spawning in chunks of things, and you just want to spawn in all the chunks and then make them all one thing. But,
No, not that tool. But I can see different ways where you could achieve it, like that kind of. You could take a bunch of components or separate actors and create a single component and manually merge their meshes. There's different trade-offs, and it's not going to have all the features that the merge actor tool does. But if you just really wanted them to do a one draw call or one piece of an attachment hierarchy, I could see how you could probably do it. But no.
Okay. Yeah. Will the actor merge tool take vertex colors into account?
Oh, good question. That's a really good question. I have no idea. I haven't seen that option, but I haven't perused the advanced options. Mm-hmm. I would hope that it could. I can't think of any technical reason why it shouldn't be able to have been implemented that way. I haven't tried it.
I haven't had a chance to mess with it myself either, but I tell you what, if you do try it out and it's not there, just send us feedback on the feedback for Epic on the forums or on Answer Hub and let us know. And it's probably just something that we just need to open up if it's not already there. So
that could be really cool. I can see that, especially if you paint it, for instance, vertex colors on skeleton or static mesh components, and you want it to just make sure these different instances are merged and retain their individual characteristics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that could be really useful.
Good question.
Okay. Will the auto foliage scaling ability be
scalability?
Yeah. Will foliage scalability be accessible through BP or at runtime? I guess they want to be able to alter those.
Yeah. I think by default they're exposed as just a new foliage detail level setting that
Yeah.
would be part of the game user settings system that you'd use to make your kind of
In the same way, like if you've ever played Skyrim or whatever, you get a big open world game, you go and there's always a slider for how much
so
detail there is.
we have different settings. So the epic presets for like low, medium, high epic qualities would out of the box map to something that the system would do, percentage wise, probably to the clutter. But of course, you have the flexibility to change those values, and I think probably you can change them at runtime. I'm not positive. I know to enable the feature, there is like on your foliage type, you're going to check a new box that says enable scalability, automatic scalability. I'm guessing you can tweak the thresholds at runtime too.
Okay, that's good. This one was so important, it was sent to us in all caps by Michael Aller.
Not always lights.
Yeah, that's how you know it's super professional, Michael. Mike Fricker, will BP function inputs ever be treated like local variables and be able to be referenced everywhere without wires?
Interesting. I don't know the answer. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I'm sorry.
It seems like a good idea to me, though.
Yeah, that's probably something worth throwing in the request for, right? I mean, that's cool. All right. Sorry, though.
That's more of a Blueprints team user interface question.
All right.
I'm sure they've heard that request before. It sounds like pretty useful.
Yeah, I know that there's always been a lot of requests around local variables being more functional, so cool. Let's see. This may have already been asked, I just got here, but what is the status of Paper 2D? Is there anything in the pipeline? I think we always get about one of those.
Yeah, there's been fixes in 4.12, but no new feature development that I'm aware of. We had a discussion about this just earlier this week, actually. Certainly something that I'd like to see more effort put into. I know Nolan feels that way too. But I think I said this last time I was on, this is one of those trade-offs we had to make where kind of some of our engineering effort has gone into performance lately and general quality of life for the engine and making sure that games can be shipped, high-performance titles on consoles. And some of those resources came off Paper 2D, unfortunately. So we're still discussing how to get staffing on it and get those features, because we know there's a whole lot more we want to do with it, a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And it's not the only feature. Like, there's other features that had to go a little bit on pause that we're not done with.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I mean, like you had said, Niagara had to take a slight hiatus, and then you're going to pick it back up.
Yeah.
But and I'd like to throw this out here. We were talking about plugins before, and there's actually a really great, I think it's called Creature is the name of it, but there's a plugin for what's called Creature, and it'll let you bring in assets from this third-party software that is really, really excellent for like rigging and making bones for your 2D characters. It's very, very useful if you have Creature.
Sweet.
And that does a lot of the things that we often talk about, like, just being able to add in bones and do all this stuff, bone-based animation with 2D characters.
What else we got?
Let's see here. Please talk a bit about the post-process converted to async compute that's on the 412 roadmap. Now,
I don't know anything about that one. Sorry. That is not my
post-process one. Alrighty.
And actually, I don't remember that being in 412. You said roadmap though.
Yeah, it might be.
I don't remember seeing that in 412. That feature.
It might have been scheduled and then just didn't end up making it.
More likely.
Sometimes that happens. Very sorry.
There's most of the post-processing work that I know for 412 was around mobile, like the protostar stuff that we showed. I don't think any of those were compute related, except the Gaussian depth of field. I think required 3.1 compute, but there's nothing. I'll have to check back on that one. I'm not sure.
All right. Another thing is too, if you have a question, we don't have the time to get to it today because we are starting to get close to 4. I'm so sorry I kept you this long.
It's okay.
Thank you so much for hanging out. But if we do have a question we couldn't get to, please feel free to throw it onto the forums. We'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. It's a good place to just come hang out and talk to the developers. Our developers are hanging out on the forums all the time now, which is great. Let's see here. Anything about volumetric lighting in the pipeline?
Nothing I can think of that maybe would need to be more specific.
Yeah.
But nothing I can think of. What's
Okay.
going on right now?
Alrighty. Let's see here. We're getting some silly questions from people. Michael Eller, I'm looking at you. Let's see. I think that we're pretty good. I think we've got quite a lot here. Thank you all for coming out. I've kept you for quite
it's
a
okay.
while. Thank you for getting to some of these last minute questions too. Thank you all for coming out with us. I'd like to say thank you to all of the people that entered the Jam and to Intel for helping sponsor everything and to Side Effects for sponsoring as well. We have a great time playing your games every month, and next month we're pretty excited to see more stuff. Enjoyed the Vive games a lot, and feel free to throw me into VR whenever you want. I have a good time. I basically go into Mike's room and get into Yannick's setup and kind of play around in that. So it's a lot of fun. Check out the Bot Says Jam, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. And next Tuesday, Ian and I will be on to talk about MOBA AI Part 2, where we'll get into making your guys with the lanes and the whatnot. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll see you all there. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming out.
Sure.
And
yeah. Hope you guys like 412.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good release.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yep.
So, well, see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.